Stevie Nicks recently said in an interview with The Guardian that if it wasn't for her abortion, there may be no Fleetwood Mac. Welcome back to Bible Bears, everyone. I'm Ryder Cullison. So you guys know that abortion is a subject near and dear to my heart. And you know what? I like Fleetwood Mac. I like Stevie Nicks. In a recent interview with The Guardian, Stevie Nicks said in 1979 she became pregnant with Don Henley's baby. Don Henley was very famous at the time for being part of another supergroup, the Eagles. So Stevie Nicks became pregnant. She said, look, at the time, I was working way too hard. Now keep in mind, this is 2 years after the mega colossal smash hit Rumors came out. So Fleetwood Mac was already well established when she was pregnant. So despite being pregnant or having an abortion, we still would have had Fleetwood Mac. So Stevie Nicks said in the article, if I had not had the abortion, I'm pretty sure there would have been no Fleetwood Mac. Okay, I just debunked that. Just no way that I could have had a child then. And there were drugs. I was doing a lot of drugs. I would have had to have walked away. Now that's curious because the last thing she said was, I was doing a lot of drugs. I would have had to have walked away. Walked away from the band or walked away from your partying lifestyle. Listen, what I'm hearing here is, yes, she was busy being part of a huge mega band like that at the time. I'm sure they were working very hard and having a baby would have been very challenging. But what I'm also hearing is that the lifestyle she was leading, the partying, doing drugs, was not the environment to bring up a baby. So she aborted the baby. Now, Nicks also brought up Amy Coney Barrett and Amy Coney Barrett's potential desire to overturn Roe v. Wade, which will send women to back into the back alleys so that we'll get these illegal abortions. Right? Wrong. Back alley abortions are a false narrative promoted by pro-abortion advocates back in the 70s. When you think of back alley, you probably think of an actual alley, dark at night, there's trash blowing around, maybe there's an oil can there with fire lit, some men in the corner coughing, drinking their bottles out of paper bags, and then the woman pounds on a steel door and there's a little light bulb above her just blinking and flickering on and off, and some guy opens a slot, lets her in, she sits down in a raggedy dentist chair or something like that, and a drunk man wearing a wife beater and with a grease stain across walks up to her with a pair of rusty forceps. Hold still. That's not what happened. That's not what back alley abortions were like. So that's one false narrative that were pushed by pro-abortion advocates. Yes, the second was that there were somewhere between 5,000 to 10,000 deaths a year resulting from illegal back alley abortions. Wrong. Studies suggest that somewhere between 87 to 90% of all legal abortions were performed by physicians. Licensed physicians. Ruth Barrett, who was an abortion doctor in Portland, of all places. Can you believe it? I think there's a hellmouth in Portland. She said she performed 40,000 illegal abortions at her clinic, and there wasn't one fatality. And her abortion clinic was well lit, bright, cheery. Now, maybe she's exaggerating. Maybe she's exaggerating how cheery her abortion clinic was, or how many abortions she actually performed without a single fatality. But you can clearly see from that example that she wasn't living in some back alley basement performing illegal abortions with rusty coat hangers. Dr. Bernard Nathanson, who once ran one of the largest abortion clinics in the country, who eventually did a 180 and became a huge pro-life advocate, he stated, back in the past, that 5,000 and 10,000 number, that's just something we threw out because we felt there was a moral imperative for women to have the right to abortion. But we felt, why try to correct it with honest statistics? What were the actual numbers? The CDC says, now keep in mind that Roe v. Wade was legalized in 73. So in 1970, 3 years before Roe v. Wade, there were 90 deaths from illegal abortion. Not 5,000, and certainly not 10,000. In 71, there were 83. In 72, there were 90 again. After Roe v. Wade was approved in 74, there was 54 and 49. So yes, that number did go down, but it certainly doesn't reach the hysteria-producing number of 5,000 or 10,000. Now, Martha Plimpton from Goonies fame and some other movies, she described in 2017 an abortion that she received in Seattle as her best one, implying, of course, that she's had multiple abortions. Elizabeth Banks, you may know her from the Hunger Games movies. She's been in a lot of other stuff. She's a director now. She directed the Charlie's Angels reboot. She said reproductive freedom was no less than liberty itself. Getting back to Stevie Nicks' story, there's several things that are going on right here. Forget the notion that abortion is necessary because of rape and incest. That number is very low, and that's not even a narrative they're really pushing here. Forget the notion that abortion is necessary to save the life of a mother. If a baby is so far along that it could pose a danger to the mother's life, you just perform a C-section. But I'll count on your medical expertise. Put that in the comments below. What we're really seeing here, and as confirmed in the Amy Coney Barrett's hearing when they brought in a woman who has 3 children and is a successful businesswoman right now, she said, if I was not able to have an abortion when I was 16, I would not be the woman I am today. Stevie Nicks is saying, if I was not able to have an abortion when I was with Fleetwood Mac, we may not have gone on to have more hits. So why is abortion legal? Aside from the fact that we don't want women traveling into dark alleys at midnight to get rusty coat hangers inserted into them while they're swigging a bottle of vodka. Abortion is legal because it's inconvenient for the woman, and because it allows the man to basically skip town and go on and pursue his career while holding the woman back. I would like to bring up an alternative point of view. One, that woman in the Amy Coney Barrett hearing doesn't know that she wouldn't have been successful. Whatever drove her to start that business and to do it working with 3 kids, those qualities don't evaporate when you have a child. She could have given that child up for adoption. Her parents could have helped her. Maybe her parents weren't around. I don't know. But I hate to simply suggest that the woman isn't strong enough to get on with a baby and still accomplish her dreams. Maybe they would have been delayed. Yes, quite possibly. You don't know, in Stevie Nicks' case, what that baby would have done. It may have cleaned up her life. It may have cleaned up all the band members' life. It may have helped Don Henley clean up his life. You don't know. Imagine, boy or girl, that baby was born in 1979. We could have a 41-year-old standing, talking to the Guardian, saying, my mother almost had an abortion. But if she hadn't turned and walked away, you may not have had my successful band. See, that's what people aren't looking at. They're looking at only the gain they got, that they received by having the abortion, rather than what they potentially lost. Imagine Stevie Nicks backstage watching her son or daughter. This would be the byproduct, let me remind you, of Stevie Nicks and Don Henley, both super successful rock stars. They could have had a rock star child. They could have been in the crowd, backstage, watching, while their eyes well up with pride, seeing their child reaching out, touching the hearts of people all across the country. Maybe they're not a famous musician. Maybe they're an architect, or a nurse, or a police officer. But make no mistake, whatever their child ended up being, those 2 parents would have been profoundly proud and would have said, you know what? I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful we decided not to have an abortion. Guys, I don't want to beat a dead horse to death, but I've been kicking this one dropping the elbow on this one quite a bit. There is a pro-abortion voice in America. It's not about rape and incest. It's not about a woman protecting a woman's life. It's about giving men and women liberty to just do whatever they want without any repercussions. For goodness sakes, if you don't want to get pregnant, if you don't want to get somebody pregnant, practice birth control. I think it's too much to ask you to abstain from sex. That's what I would be suggesting for many other reasons. But at least practice birth control so you don't have to face this tough decision. But if you do have to face it, know that that baby is a gift to you. And that baby in your life could turn a rudder and send you in a whole new direction in which you need to go. But don't make excuses. Like, our mega band may not have been so mega if I had had a child. I may not have a business today if I had had a child when I was 16. What I'm asking you to do is just trust in God. Just trust God, because He's got a purpose, not just for you, but for that child. And it could be awesome. I, for one, would have loved to see how Stevie Nicks and Don Henley's child turned out. If they did become a big musical act, I imagine they would have been quite successful. Guys, what do you think? Put everything that's on your mind in the comments below about abortion, about the pro-abortion propaganda, just everything. Dump it in there. If you like this video, click like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to hit that bell notification so that you're alerted when we post new videos. As always, I love you and have a blessed day.